All right, so we're here with our DCS Montbello team to look at this video of an RJ coordinator. Go ahead.
She's walking away. They're holding her arm. Steady walking. So then she steps in.
We have other students intervening.
That was a boy. She stepped in.
Well, my question is, where's the adult in the video? It's no, I don't see no adults around.
And they're loud. So she was like, how do you not know? See, she's screaming.
I mean, it's not enough that adult should be aware of what's going on and intervene, you know?
Yeah, so because how does somebody not know if you're out there appropriately supervising? How do you not know this argument, this conflict is taking place? Where's the volume?
You want to pause it?
Yeah.
Oh, we're just looking for the volume. Is that as loud as it goes? Now, look, is that him right? See, he's standing there right there, and he's smiling. What is that?
So I think
What is that?
Pause it?
I don't know where to go. Yeah, I think we should pause.
Go ahead.
So my concern is that he's watching the girls arguing right now, and he's not doing anything. He's not even intervening on what to do with the kids.
And smiling, though. And he's allowed this to carry on as long as it has, and not even made his presence known. No voice, no nothing. But the smile is just killing me.
And why did it took him so long to approach the girl when it's been already like more than almost a minute?
He's got a radio in his hand.
That's another thing. Got a radio and didn't call for
You
support.
got these kids standing around watching.
So what would you all have done in that situation?
First of all, I would just call on the radio for help right away.
So for me, as soon as I would have seen that and heard that, I'd have went over to what's going on and immediately been like, yo, let's chill out with this, cut it out. We're going to have to meet and just immediately start letting them know we're going to have to talk about this because this is too much. Before it even gets to all of that.
Okay.
But let's just say, for the sake of argument, give him the benefit of the doubt, the first piece that we seen, he didn't know nothing about it. All right? But when we see him is when it was brought to his attention. Even then, I'd still have been saying something to the kids to get them to stop and know there's an adult present and we can't go any further with this. You know, there's been no reason why these girls are trying to, it's great that someone's trying to prevent the fight. You see other kids doing that, but it shouldn't have been all on them. You know what I mean? Like, that's just ridiculous. And then it only gets worse. You want to say something else?
Just my concern is the supervision in the playground. I don't see too many adults in the playground when perhaps they are either in lunch or it's just too many kids outside.
Right.
With not enough supervision.
Yep. Yep. So look at that, right there. They start fighting, and he had been there watching, and another person jumps in. See, and I'm with you on that, though. When it appeared that it was going to be bad, he should have been calling the radio because he's not saying nothing.
And also, I mean, to advocate, he's alone. It's not fair that one person is dealing with that, with the whole situation.
Right.
You know?
Look at that. That's horrible.
And still, didn't call on the radio before that stuff happened.
And look at that. But see, what also gets me that apparently he has no presence in that school
at all
for the kids at that age to continue to go after them, each other. Most elementary school kids, when there's an adult around, would stop.
Right. Go ahead. But what I want to say is that even though he's their presence there at the situation, he's not saying nothing at all. It's not even screaming to say stop or trying to take control of the situation.
Right.
So
Right.
it's just.
And he could have easily, if nothing else, if he can't get on the radio, he could have told a kid that's nearby, go get some help, go get
Right, yeah.
whoever, you know. But he's he's casually trying to break it up. You know how we break up fights?
Yes.
We're like in it.
Right.
You know what I mean? To the point where some parents are even questioning our attempt. But now look at that. Look at
Yeah,
that.
he seems like
He was
he
timid.
didn't want to. Yeah, he was scared of.
He's scared, didn't want to, you know, didn't know how, and we go through different type of
Yeah.
trainings or conversations. But here's the other piece that gets me, and this is the realest thing, and it's not even about the training. We're parents. We got people in our family that we love. We see someone that we love and care about in a situation, we immediately jump in there with the intent truly to stop, prevent,
Correct.
to help. It doesn't take any training to go in and try to prevent something.
He had no,
when you care about
no,
it.
He had no instinct. Of
No
what to do
instinct,
at
but
all.
I think the other part is no instinct, and it's obvious you really don't care. So now I'm speaking from a parent's perspective, right? Not that we haven't been,
Right.
but we're looking at this from our
From our perspective.
from our professional perspective. But as a parent, and we got daughters. Now, granted, our daughter's a little older now,
Right.
but my daughter is only 1 year removed from 5th grade. When my daughter goes to school, I expect every adult to do everything they can to assure that my daughter is safe. And if my daughter is doing something that goes outside, that's outside of what the parameters to maintain her safety, then we need to talk so I can make sure that I'm addressing my daughter.
Right.
So that she understands if something's going on, there's an adult around, you better stop, you better follow directions. You know, there's no reason why my daughter should be afraid of, well, the teachers aren't going to do anything. And when we hear this all the time. We hear students all the time say, why didn't you say this? Why didn't you tell the teacher? Well, they were right there. They didn't say nothing. They didn't do nothing. Which, how difficult has that made our job?
Correct.
Seriously, like, think about it. When the kids are sitting there talking to us and what happened in the classroom.
Room 49 to remove the students in that interrupting the class. Room 49.
So they run it down to us, what happens in the classroom. Where was the teacher at? Right there. So we get called, just like now, to go somewhere.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
I just think that his presence in the playground is not strong enough for the kids to have respect of him or fear of him of not doing inappropriate
Not even
behavior.
attempted.
You know, so that's
So one of the things that, if you guys could talk about for just a second, is the three girls that were involved in the situation right now are in court right now. They are being held accountable for their actions. What accountability, from your perspective as a professional, should happen here?
So for me, first of all, they're elementary school students. They shouldn't even receive a ticket for that. Number one, I don't think they should have received a ticket to even be in court. I feel that
one because it could have been avoided.
it could have been avoided. That's the number one
Could have
reason.
been avoided.
That's the number one reason that
Yes.
there's an adult there that could have got involved. He was there before the first punch was thrown.
Correct.
And if he'd have jumped in there immediately, there wouldn't have been a fight.
At all. Yes.
There wouldn't have been a fight because he would have separated them. He would have did whatever he needed to do to prevent that from happening. They wouldn't have fought. Number two, if you're going to send them to court, I'd rather say, you know what? And wait, how old is this though? I'm looking at it today, so I'm feeling like this just recently happened. But if they went to court, that means it would have happened like a month ago. So they wouldn't have been able to say, okay, we're going to end their school year early because that would have been in the middle of May or in the middle of April, early April. But they could have still brought parents in. We got to sit down and have a serious conversation about what's going on and why your child felt like they needed to
Right.
behave this way. Like, what was the issue of their fight?
And also on the teacher's perspective or the adult, I mean, I don't know the law, but I think he was neglecting his position at that point. So, and again, I don't know the law, so I cannot say he'll get a ticket or whatever, but it seems to me that he was neglecting his position at that point.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you this. I know we've had some parents, and they've been on TV or whatever, where fights have taken place, and if a parent was there and encouraged it or didn't try to stop it, they were charged with something. Sometimes it has happened, sometimes it didn't happen. As we know, this year it didn't happen,
Correct.
but it has happened. He needs to be, and I'm not saying he didn't get a reprimand, but he needs to get something because there's no reason why those kids should have to go stand in front of Judge Rudolph. That's probably who it's going to be.
Okay.
right? Because an adult didn't do their part.
Right.
Because at the same time, kids are kids, and as you and I both know, our job is to teach them how to manage their conflict and provide them with the tools they need to not get in that situation. And if they find themselves in that situation, they need us, the adults, to help them navigate through that or prevent them from being in that. I've said it all the time. Every kid that's in a fight don't always want to be in a fight. And we watched one of the kids didn't want to be in the
Always
fight.
asking for their attention.
That's how somebody else jumped
Yes, yes.
in. You know what I mean? And he didn't recognize that. And that's not fair. And again, that's what makes our job difficult, because then kids question the adults, and then they don't want to go tell an adult. They don't want to reach out. You know, it's not meant for them to have to deal with everything on this earth by themselves. Like, that's not cool. So.
Dean Tomas, you want to say anything before we end?
No, that's just my big concern is that we have an adult present and he didn't do what he was supposed to do while he was supervising those kids. And it's got to be some type of consequence of that adult for not doing his job.
Okay.
Well, the last thing I want to add, and let's stir it a little bit, because this is the reality. You got these black girls fighting, you got this white man watching. If the shoe would have been on the other foot, then what? And that's the reality. If it had been some white girls fighting, would he have still sat there and done that? Maybe, maybe not.
Correct.
But unfortunately, it was black girls fighting, and you got this white man watching and not really making the effort to prevent that.
And he also said, I don't know if you remember in the video, he said, are you guys gonna fight? Are you guys gonna fight? Something like that, no?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So that's kind of also instigating the fight.
Right.
Instead of stopping it.
So think about as many fights we broke up. How many times have we ever asked the kids, are they gonna fight?
Correct. None.
Seriously, like, when have we sat back and watched the kids just argue? You know, they get in each other's space, and we're just sitting there watching, waiting. When have we ever?
None.
As
None.
long as we've done this,
None.
at many different schools, when have we done this?
None.
Never.
We intervene like
As
right
soon as it happens, as soon as it gets, you seen just a minute ago, you were out there and I heard something, I'm like, wait. And you're like, no, it's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Safety's too important to just.
Safety is number
Because
one.
then the other piece is, this video gets out, not only can parents be mad, but the other fear is, what about that little girl who's getting jumped? So what does her family say? They see this situation, they see that these kids jumped. So you got family members, like we said, you got family members that love you, somebody else gets involved. Then you got two families
Involved.
beefing
Yes. Yeah.
outside of the school. It doesn't always just end at the school. This man, there's so many different repercussions from his lack of,
749 is clear.
you know, so that's me on that. I'm getting mad all over again. Seriously.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it.